All right. Hey, everybody. How you doing? It is me, Eric Johnson, EDJ Geek, and look who's here, Ali Spittel. Do I say your last name right?
It's Spittle, but honestly, nobody gets it right, so you're good.
You're so nice. So no, you don't say my last name right, but thanks for playing. So yeah, I'm really bad. So Spittle. Okay, I got it. All right, Ali, tell us a little bit about you.
I am a senior developer advocate for the Amplify team, so we have some overlap with you all where we have serverless, but our team is really focused on front-end and mobile developers and bringing AWS to that audience, which is a lot of fun, and we have some really fun products on our team that we cover, like the Amplify Admin UI, which is my favorite thing to talk about. It's like a low-code solution. Outside of work, I also have a podcast with 3 of my close friends called the Ladybug Podcast, and I have my blog, We Learn Code.
Nice. Yes, and I have followed you for some time. Have got to see you speak quite a few times. I love it. I'm really excited to have you on here. I'm also a big Amplify fan. In the Amplify admin, that was super cool when it came out, and I know you had done several. I watched them because I learned from watching your demo and on how to do the admin stuff. And I was like, man, there are so many things that I could just go, boop, no more code, or a lot less code. I don't want to say no code because I don't want to say that, but a lot less code. And yeah, so very cool. So. Call out. I see some folks coming in, and son, if you're here, I see Jay Walsh to me made it. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. Throw in a hi to us. We'd love it. Today we're going to be talking about Britney Spears.
My favorite.
Your favorite. And I have promised not to sing. That was I got to be honest. When I tweeted about this, that was the first Britney Spears tweet I've ever done in my life. So I want to thank you for that moment. And Chris, I have to say, Chris Muns goes, what? He goes, that's strange, but okay, let's go. So we are going to have fun with this. Tell us what you're going to build today.
Yeah, so I actually, do you want me to share my screen? I have a finished version of it. Okay, amazing.
All right. Hey, and just saying, we do have Julian R. Wood, Mr. Julian Wood, who's awesome. He's going to be answering questions for us as well. So feel free to either during this time ask questions. We'll also spend the last half hour answering questions. So we are going to, we'll answer your questions. Look at that. Now, is this your design? Did you design this?
Oh, yes. Yeah. It's not my best work, but I tried. I do a lot of these kind of fun music or pop culture references in my demos because there's only so many to-do list apps that I can build. So I hear that. I did one a couple years ago that was Thank You Next by Ariana Grande, teaching linked lists through that. That's one of my favorites.
Oh, nice. See, that's clever. Mine was a weather app, which I think, and the client, of course, was Postman. So yours is just a little complete finish, so we say. So, all right. So you're going to be talking about Flask today. I'm not a Python developer, but I assume it does have something to do with Python, so I don't sound like a total moron here.
For sure. So we're going to be using the Amplify CLI to create a Python Lambda function. And so Flask is the web framework that we're going to be using inside of there. So Flask is this kind of lightweight framework, maybe similar to an Express.js or Sinatra in Ruby. So it's not something like Ruby on Rails or Django that's really heavyweight and built into it. It's much more, you build what you need and that's what's there. So I have a lot of fun building with it and should be fun.
All right. I turn it over to you. Show us what you're going to build. Britney Spears songs. Will you be singing?
Absolutely not. Okay. Absolutely not.
Okay.
I
just want to know what to expect.
On that,
that's a hard no, Eric.
Not in my job description.
That's right. Fair enough.
Amazing. So I'm going to create a React app, and I'm really just doing this so that I can pull from the API down the road. You could build any type of front end that you want, whether it is a Vue app or just a vanilla JavaScript one, or if you wanted to build a mobile app, Amplify is ready for that as well. But I'll do a React app. That's just where I spend my life is in React. So
all right,
we'll work through
now,
that.
I'm a Vue.js person. So I won't mock you, but I'm just throwing that out there. So, or you may mock me. Either way. So
No. I love
powerful.
Vue as well. I wrote Vue professionally starting in like 2016 when it was pretty new. I think Vue 2 had just come out, and I think it's amazing. It's one of my other favorite frameworks to work with. But
yeah,
I just
that's the difference.
Think in React.
I don't think any of my code is professional, but you know,
I'm sure it is.
There's probably a lot of people go nope. So no, I'm an architect. I'm working to be a developer. So
love it. Cool. So Create React app is running. Now I'll change into the directory I just created.
Alrighty. Hey, can you hide that overlay there? It's hiding what you.
Yes.
There you go.
Sorry
awesome. Thank you. No, you're good. You're good.
Cool. And then once I'm in here, I'm going to run Amplify init. This is going to initialize an Amplify project. I'll show you what it does in a minute. It just creates this Amplify directory and a couple other files. So Brittany API, I'll use my dev environment or name it dev. So Amplify supports multiple environments if you need production or whatever. VS Code, JavaScript, React. It kind of senses these things automatically, so you just press enter. Source, build, npm run build, npm run start. And I will use my AWS profile.
All right. So what you did here, just to make sure I'm clear, so first you created the React project, and then you initialized it with Amplify. And Amplify is a package that you can install and it does the connection, right? Because Amplify in the background, and you please correct me if I'm wrong. Amplify in the background is going to manage back-end stuff for you, and it's going to manage. So this is allowing it to it's going to kind of wire that up for you, and it's going to bring down parameters, different things like that. So it really ties your app into there.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm using the Amplify CLI or command line interface for this. We also have the admin UI, which is a visual, like low code interface. But for things like Lambda functions, which is what we're going to be creating, you do need to use the CLI for that.
Gotcha. All right.
Cool.
And I get asked a lot. Sorry, I just. No. I apologize. I do get asked a lot. When do I use SAM? When do I use Amplify? When do I use CDK? Things like that. And I've never really put SAM and Amplify in the same box, although there's a lot of overlay, and Amplify uses SAM in the background some. But Amplify really is this. I'm coming at it from a front end, wrapping into my code, controlling the back end. So that's kind of a delineator that I see sometimes. Not sure if you agree with that or not, but
yeah, I would agree with that as well.
Okay.
That Amplify essentially allows you to provision these different resources under the hood. So instead of just a Lambda function, you could have a full GraphQL API using AWS AppSync. You could add in storage using S3. You could do storage using DynamoDB instead, which we're going to do today as well.
Awesome.
Cool. So the next command that I'm going to run is Amplify Add Storage. And I'm going to do a NoSQL database. So this will be DynamoDB under the hood.
Yeah.
The favorite.
I'm a big DynamoDB fan, yes.
Cool. So I'm naming this Brittany storage for collision purposes. I already have Brittany song storage, I believe. And so this is the fun thing about creating the same app a bunch of times for demos is that you have to think of unique names each time.
I was telling you last time I crashed on our episode on API Gateway. I had name collisions and had all kinds of issues. So yes, don't name your resource if you don't have to, but in this case you have to.
Yeah. Mostly so that it's just cleaner in my code. Otherwise, I'd have to do that auto name that it gave me of the DynamoDB with a bunch of letters, which I just don't want to do in my code.
I hear you.
Amazing. So I also made it I also made a table name, Britney Spears songs, and I'm going to add some columns to the database. So the first one is going to be ID, which is a good one to have. I'll do a string because I'm going to use a UUID for it. I will add another column, which will be name. So this will be the name of the song, and it will be a string as well. I will also add in the year.
So hang on, you are actually setting up the DynamoDB data types in right here.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
So just directly right here in the command line interface is asking me all these questions, and I'm creating the database table. I'm adding in
how new is this?
Data types. That's a good question.
Sorry, I'm totally stumped. When the date was... See, the last time I did this, and it's been a while since I've used Amplify on this particular part of it, that's really slick. Being able to declare all that. So, yeah, very cool. I didn't realize you could do all that.
Awesome. Yeah. So, again, the command for this is Amplify Add Storage. You also may have seen Amplify Add API in the past, which is how you add a GraphQL API. And that one, you edit the fields within your text editor. So 2 different ways of provisioning a database within Amplify.
Makes total sense. Got it.
Cool.
Got it.
So then year, and I'll make year into a number. And then another column, yes. I also want the link to the song. So I just used YouTube videos for it.
Okay.
And I could download the songs themselves, but it's just easier to
right.
And that will be a string as well. And then no other columns are needed. Now I need to choose a partition key. So I'm going to choose ID for that. And I do not want to add a sort key or a GSI.
Now with Dynamo, you and with Amplify, it might be different, but we're naming, because Dynamo, I could just do an ID. Boom, an ID, and then send any kind of structured data that I want. Hey, I can add fields and that, I mean, that's NoSQL, right? So it doesn't have to be the same. But I'm assuming that by adding these here, you're giving your local client the structure that you need and want to talk to DynamoDB and push data back and forth. So that's why it's critical on the local. Is that would that be correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're adding a kind of schema to it to enforce the data structure that we're.
Gotcha. All right.
And it'll be populated in the Dynamo AWS console as
schema
well.
as well. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm that developer who just does ID, and then every row looks different. So I'm a single table guy. I use single table.
Oh, that's awesome. I want to learn more about it. Rick Houlihan, I think, is doing a Cloud Guru workshop on it tomorrow, and I really want to tune into that.
I would. Now, what you want to do is you want to record it, and then you want to play it back at half speed. Rick talks so fast, I can't understand a word he's saying. And I've told him this directly, so I'm not being mean. And he knows it. I don't think anybody goes, "You talk fast." He goes, "Really?" I mean, he knows it. But the first time I ever saw him, it was mind blowing. I learned so much, and it's his serverless advanced database patterns for DynamoDB. He does every year at reInvent. If you in our audience have never seen that, look it up. Go to YouTube. It was 2018, 2019, 2020. I think it's 2016, 2017 also. He does it every year. And every year it's a fantastic presentation.
Yeah. I think it's like the top ranked talk at reInvent too, from what I've heard.
It is. Yeah. So, I'm gunning for it though. So with our Britney Spears presentation here. Hey, while that's loading, can we answer a question real quick?
Yeah, for sure.
We have Abi, Rashuri. That was horrible, Eric, and I apologize right up front. There's Amplify as framework and Amplify as a service. Can we use Amplify as a service to host applications developed in other front-end frameworks, or does it has to be only in Amplify framework? And I'll let you jump on that.
Cool. That's a really great question. So I think they're asking about Amplify, the framework through this command line interface versus the Amplify console, which is used for front-end hosting, as well as the admin UI is through that. And you can very much use Amplify hosting for any front-end project. Like essentially, if it doesn't have a back end, it can be hosted on there. You can do the build step through there and all that. I have most of my static apps hosted through the Amplify console. Same.
Yeah. Vue, React, with or without Amplify. You do not have to have Amplify installed. Just straight up static. But the great thing about it is you get CI/CD right out the box. You just, I mean, I connect it to a repo, and all of a sudden I'm a professional ops developer, operations person who has, that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
Awesome. So I ran the command amplify push -y, and what that did was it actually deployed my database to the cloud. So now my DynamoDB database is provisioned within AWS instead of just kind of in no man's land. So now the next thing that I'm going to do is Amplify Add API. And this is going to add in an API. I'm going to build a REST API, and this is what's going to use a Lambda function. The GraphQL would be using AppSync instead.
Right. Both would use DynamoDB in the back end, though, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Under the hood.
It makes me very happy that you went the API route. That is my. Now, will this be API? Will this be REST or HTTP API?
This will be REST.
Okay.
So now I have the Brittany API. I'm going to have my base route be songs. So I'll have other routes within my Flask app, and songs will just be the base.
All right.
I'll create a new Lambda function. I'll use that one for this because I don't have to use it in my code. So I'll just use the one that they generated for me.
That'll work.
Okay, and then I'm going to use Python, but you can choose between other ones as well. So there's Node, Go, .NET, Java. I just personally love Python. So
well, we need Python for Flask, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, yeah, okay. If you can make Flask work with Node, this would be an entirely different presentation. That'd be pretty interesting.
That'd be
wow.
Oh my goodness.
Seems a little strange, but okay.
Yeah. If I was writing Python and JavaScript.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So it has different templates for starting out with your Lambda function. The Hello World is the only one right now, but I actually wrote the code for a CRUD API, and it'll be deployed very soon.
Nice.
So very
That's
exciting.
what we need. We need beyond Hello World. We need CRUD APIs are great. If you don't know what CRUD APIs, it's create, read, update, delete, which awesome. I was a developer many years before I knew what that meant. That's awesome. Not bad. It's not a bad. No, CRUD doesn't mean bad, Eric. So yeah, CRUD everywhere. That's right. Someone said it.
That's all right. That's a great clarification. And it's super fun to contribute to actual Amplify as well, because normally as a developer advocate, I'm like, using Amplify for all.
Right.
To actually write code for it is a lot of fun. And I got to learn a lot. So watch out for that, I guess.
All right.
So I am giving my Lambda function access to my DynamoDB database. So it says, do you want to give access to other resources? And I said yes. And I selected storage. I think it's kind of running off the page a little bit. And then here we have our CRUD actions. So create, read, update, and delete. I selected all of those.
Okay. So you're setting policies. You're setting, yeah, right. And something we always talk about in this is least privileges. When you're setting up these applications, it's really critical. In Ellie, I know you'd agree with me on this, that just what they need. If they only read, just do read. If they only write, just do write. It's something I think as developers, a lot of times we leave things wide open. Then we go back and go, all right, now I'll lock it down. Sometimes it's too late. So with Amplify, with serverless, you build your policies in right from the get-go. Sorry, I was in my lecture voice.
No. That's a really, really good clarification and thing to talk about. For the sake of demos, I normally just give access to myself for everything.
Right.
I don't have to set it up. But in a real world application, you would want to really limit this to only the people who need access.
Right. And thus the reason Amplify is asking for those kinds of things. So what are you going to do? So exactly. yeah, absolutely. For
sure. So when I ran that command, Amplify init, it created my Amplify directory for me. So it has information about like team provider and the CLI and all that. And then when I ran Amplify Add API, it created my API directory here and the function. And then when I did Amplify Add Storage, it added the storage directory within here. And then also within my source, it added this AWS exports here, which just has information about the things that I provisioned.
Right. Which that's really critical because half the time when you're developing, can you open that file for a minute?
Yeah.
Just so folks can see it. So what this is in here is saying this is your table name. This is the region. And there's just that's all there is at the moment. But half the battle is, well, how do I talk to the table? How do I get to this from a client? Amplify loads that up for you and already sets that so that we can lock that in. So
exactly, it makes it much less difficult than it would be without it, for sure.
Yeah. So.
Okay, and I'm going to rerun Amplify push -y again, and the -y just makes it so that it doesn't ask me for a confirmation step, but this is going to send or create the function and the API up on AWS. API is using API gateway, and then functions using Lambda function.
Right. Okay, so while that's doing that, I'm gonna grab this other question. This is a follow-up to our earlier one here. It says, can I just use Amplify console for all functionalities versus using Amplify CLI commands? I'm a bit confused between Amplify CLI. Can you clarify on that one?
Yeah. So that's a great question. So the console, actually, I can go to it. Maybe that would be helpful.
That might be helpful, yeah.
So, oh my goodness.
And I don't want to derail you too much. We can answer this after the fact as well. So,
yeah, no. This is a good question. Okay, so if I have a front end only application, then I can host it using the Amplify console, no problem. So if you have something, oh my goodness, look how many things I have. Like those
are all websites.
These are all just websites.
Yep.
So for example, this is my portfolio site. It's just a single page application that lists all the things I'm speaking at and things like that. Nice. This is what you can deploy through the Amplify console.
Doesn't require CLI, doesn't require the low code dashboard, anything like that. This is just, and I don't want to oversimplify it because it's not just a hosting service. It's a hosting service on steroids, but it's the hosting service.
Yeah. And you can even just drag and drop too. You can build your front end locally and drag and drop it onto here, or you can connect it to Git or anything like that. So
S3, yeah.
S3, yeah. Yep. So there is that piece of the puzzle, but then there's also this admin UI, which you can also do through the Amplify console. And I could also, maybe once I'm done with this demo, send in the chat some of my links to tutorials on admin UI.
Yes, yeah.
Cool.
I might be able to find it while you're doing that as well. So, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, you're good. So the Amplify CLI is really for provisioning these more back-end resources. So things like adding an API or adding a database. That's where the CLI would come in. You can do some of this through the admin UI, but really the CLI right now is the most extensive way to add all these different resources.
I found your YouTube video. I'll post that.
Amazing.
All right. Yeah, so I'm going to be the first to admit that it's a little confusing. It's like, what? Amplify. What amplify? You know, we amplify a lot. We amplify. So yeah, you really think of these three different ideas, and the link I'm posting here, it's going to come from Serverless Lane to all the different channels. That is a link that talks through the admin UI, and that's the low code solution that allows you to build a backend from the console. And actually, more than just so like from the CLI, she's bringing up services, but you can actually add data in the console in the admin UI. You can actually say, if I'm building a menu, here's the information. So
data and authentication are the two categories that are supported by the admin UI right now, which is awesome. But if you want to do things like storage or really customize things to another level, the CLI is really the way to do that right now.
Yeah. An O1 Pollux, yes, it does this.
Amplify does a lot.
Yeah, it does. Okay. It's very powerful. And it does it on serverless. Sorry, I just had to throw that in.
It does it on serverless. So no need to worry too much about all the configuration.
That's right. Okay.
Amazing. So I changed into my directory for my API or for my function. So I show my directory, I changed into Amplify, then backend, and then my function and my function's name.
Yep.
Cool. So this uses pipenv. So Python has different package managers. Pipenv is one of my favorites to use. And so we'll install dependencies into that. So you'll need to have pipenv installed on your computer first. I do, but you might need to download that if you don't have it. So what I will do is pipenv install AWS WSGI, Photo3, Flask, and Flask cores. And these are just the Python libraries that I need.
All righty. So pipenv, is that, so that's an extension of pip itself?
It's a Python package manager. So it's kind of like, I would almost say it's like NPM versus Yarn or something like that.
Okay. All right.
Pip is the default one that comes installed, but then you have to manage the requirements yourself. So you have to do like pip freeze requirements.txt or whatever. Pipenv does a better job at managing different environments for you. So it does virtual environment and package management in one.
Got it. All righty. Yeah, I break all my Python environments anyway. So yeah, I have finally conquered pip. So yeah, that's
my goodness. Yeah, I very much lived through the Python 2 to Python 3 core migration era of development. And so I feel like I have lived through so many virtual environment issues that.
Well, thank God for virtual environments, though. I mean, now that I figured it out, it's like, oh, okay. In this, I know the environment here. So yeah, that's very cool. John Walsh says piping makes pip better. All right, I think you meant pipenv. Autocorrect. Autocorrect's killing you, John. All right, so we're still installing there. So real quick here, Dan MBA. Oh no, I'm sorry. We'll come back to it. Okay. Dan MBA says the most confusing part of Amplify is cost. The CLI is free, but hosting and added service costs. Yeah, so you're charged for infrastructure, right? So we say serverless. It is serverless, obviously, but we're running invocations and Lambda. So it's the resources that you use. So you're right. So and there can be a combination of them. So if I'm using Amplify and I have Lambda functions in the background, API gateway, and each of those are charged individually. So. I wish I could say, I mean, if you think about it kind of in these nutshells and combine them, hopefully that simplifies it a little bit. So,
yeah. As you're charged for the services that it's using under the hood.
John's having a horrible day today typing. So,
oh no.
Auto dial, auto fail. There it is. We got it. All right.
Amazing. So I'm going to set up cores handling.
Oh, good. Okay.
Necessary, but not
necessary evil. I am quoted I was speaking at reInvent, and it's been played several places, but I said if cores had a face, I'd punch it in the nose. This is the hardest thing, but it is necessary. You know, I won't go into my long drawn out lecture on it. It's a layer of security. So
it is important. Yeah. Okay. So now I just created my Flask app instance right here, and then I enabled cores for it. So
all right, excellent.
Nothing super fun yet. I'm going to also remove the body of this handler function. And I'm going to import AWS GI. So this is going to handle the routing and WSGI configuration. And this is going to be necessary. Sorry.
Right. That's the way of life here at Amazon.
Yeah. My duplicate meetings for right now.
That's
okay.
Right.
This is a really nice library. I think a former or current AWS employee wrote it, but it isn't officially AWS supported, so I should name that. But if you are going to build a Flask application or a Django application that's serverless, this is a great tool to use. Took me a long time to find.
If I'm not mistaken, I didn't mean to talk over you. I apologize.
No, go for it.
AWS how you doing? AWS GI does some translation for API Gateway, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So I'm going to pass it the Flask app. this app instance right here, and then the event and the context from Lambda.
Awesome. So AWS SGI takes the incoming request and turns it into a format that Flask can read and work with, and then it translates it back on the way out, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
that's
excellent.
An amazing explanation of it.
Okay, good.
Okay. Yeah.
So that also is an amazing app because that makes it easier. Lambda works with API Gateway directly fairly well, but when you need it formatted a certain way, it's nice to have these middlewares that'll do it.
Yeah. This took me forever to find, and I pretty much wrote a version of AWS GI like myself, trying to get this working.
I remember we had the conversation. Yeah,
we did. And then I found this, and I was like, so grateful. Okay, so I'm creating a global variable here that just has my base route. So when I was configuring the API, I had to say like my base route's going to be song. And so I'm just storing this as a variable here as well, just so that I can reuse it in my code. And then I'm going to create a route. And this will just be my base route. So if I go to /song, you would probably expect that all of my songs would be listed out. And eventually that's what this route will do.
Right.
I'm going to make it so that it just handles GET requests. You could put multiple methods within there and have a conditional statement or something, but I normally like
what you need, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And then I need to have a function here. And I'll just return a message of hello world for now.
All right.
And then I will run amplify push-y to deploy those changes. There's normally a tool called Amplify mock as well. And that allows you to run this locally before deploying. But the engineering team is working on a couple tweaks.
That's right. Okay. We're gonna test live.
Yeah. So they told me it would be deployed by the end of the week. So if you're doing this in a little bit of the future, then Amplify mock will work. But if you're doing this today, I think that you might run into some issues. So I am going to run push instead.
That works. So we have a question came in while you're doing this, and I can grab this one. It says, can we use Amplify also as infrastructure as code as we create a lot of resources? So a great question. So the idea here, again, that goes back to this overlapping idea. And I'm going to give my answer, and then we'll see. You give your answer. We'll see if they, or you go, he's wrong. But really, with Amplify, yes, as you're watching Ali spinning up infrastructure left and right here, you can absolutely use it, and it uses infrastructure as code in the background. So it uses CloudFormation, it uses SAM templates, it uses different things in the background to do this. So when she says push, it's doing a deploy in some other areas to launch that stuff. But it's from a very front end centric approach. So she's doing it. It's bringing it's expected to be from the developer's desktop, and it's bringing down information as she's doing it. So if you're looking to just do infrastructure as code and build that back end, that's when you want to look at something like SAM or CDK. And a lot of times you have teams that are divided. You have, hey, we're the front end team, we're the back end team. Although there's a lot of teams that do it all now. That's where our back end team is going to use an IAC like SAM or CDK to manage that back end, and then the front end team will stay in a React or a Vue and make calls as needed. So hopefully that helps. You can, but again, right tool for the right job.
Yeah. Agreed. Very much so. That I would also categorize this as infrastructure as code, but different tools for different use cases. Amplify is a very front end and mobile developer focused.
Yep.
Cool. So what I'm doing right now is I'm installing the AWS Amplify JavaScript libraries. So there are libraries for your front end. It's going to make connecting all this a little bit easier and doing the API calls and all that. So I'm installing that as we speak.
So the CLI helps to do a lot of low code too, because it gives you a lot of ready-made functionality that you can, or APIs that you can call on to do this work as well.
Exactly. And we have pre-built React components and Vue components as well that you can use in your project and do things like authentication that I cannot say how many times I've written a login form in my career. And so it handles things like that for you.
I was just going to say, please don't write your own authentication if you don't have to. And authentication forms. I mean, you can style those. Maybe that's less, but I see more folks reinvent the wheel on that, and it's there. There are a lot of libraries specifically within AWS or elsewhere, but yeah.
Cool. So we looked at this AWS exports a few minutes ago. That just this has information about my resources and my table names and my regions and all of that. And what I'm just going to do is I'm going to write a few lines of code in order to actually connect this.
Nice.
So it's just amplify.configure with that config JSON, and that's all I need to do.
All right.
And I did that in my index.js file. I used create React app at the very beginning to scaffold this all out. So
right.
It might be different depending on what you're using. And what I'm going to do here in my index.js is I am going to import API from AWS Amplify. And I'm going to write a use effect in here.
Oh, yeah. That pre-populated. That's sweet.
Yeah, I'm so heavy on using snippets.
Yeah. And that's a Visual Studio Code thing. Now, I want to comment on your theme here, how it matches your background.
Okay, it's even better. I have a matching keyboard as well.
Nice.
So this is very Flask, and they have a whole suite of stuff that matches. So I love it.
I feel like my game needs to be upped a little bit. So challenge me next time you're on. Yeah, I'm going to have something. White brick is okay, but maybe not great.
No, much more professional than.
Yeah, I'm often accused of being professional.
Okay.
There we go. Yeah. Based on your comments, says people should sell editor themes with keyboards. Yeah, that'd be sweet.
Yeah, that would be an idea for a startup right there.
Hey, Salt Burnham 313. He's giving you a hey.
Hey. Okay. So what I am doing right here is I am going to pull data from that API. So I needed to specify the name of my API in case I had multiple made. So in this case, I have the Brittany API, and I can just open up this backend like API and see that the folder's named that and use that name right there. And then this is my route. So I'm doing get request to the song route, which I created in my Python code.
Alrighty.
And then I am going to spin up my server. Hopefully my computer can handle all this.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. I'm telling you, remote Visual Studio Code or remote Cloud9. Oh, wow, Eric just really blanked. Cloud9, yeah, that helps a ton.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, it's starting the server, and my fan is running like wild.
It's cooling the room. All right, so while that's spinning up, we've got a question. So when you run Amplify, so this is still continuing on. So when you run Amplify CLI commands to add resources, I'm guessing it is just creating templates for those resources to be later created in the cloud during deployment, or is it already creating? And yeah, Ali's shaking her head yes, and I am too. Yes, it creates them when you do the push.
Yeah, exactly. So when you do the Amplify Add command or whatever, then you are creating it here in your code where it's creating the cloud formation and other things that are needed. Any other local files or variables or whatever that Amplify needs. And then when you do Amplify push, that's going to push all the resources that you've created and update them in the cloud.
There you go.
Cool. And it is working.
What? First try.
Oh, let's
A little
see.
jealous.
Okay. Now I'm getting a CORS error.
Course, yeah.
Classic. But usually it's not actually a CORS error. It's usually something else.
CORS is the I don't know what else it could be in the browser. It's a browser thing, and it's a don't know what else. So we're going to throw a CORS error, and sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't.
Yeah, usually it is not. In my experience.
Exactly. Yeah. So now you get to watch debugging.
Yeah, which is fun. So I'm going into the Lambda console and going into viewing my logs. And this is where the Amplify mock working properly would really help, because then I could run it locally.
So it didn't invoke if you don't have a log.
Invoke. Okay. Yeah. So did I call it songs by any chance instead of song? That might be it.
I think you did. Which is my way of saying I don't know, but that's I think so. So
let me see. Live coding is always something else.
It is.
Let me try this.
All right.
Do
you have, by chance, SAM installed on your computer?
I don't think I do. Okay, I should install that.
You should, because you can do SAM logs, and you don't have to go to CloudWatch. You just pass it the function's ID, the physical name of the function, and it'll pull the logs locally to your machine, and you can you can tail the logs. So that's pretty fun. So
that's amazing.
Yep.
Let me see. I should have quit out of Slack. Okay.
Tell Richard Boyd, leave us alone.
We're streaming right now. Okay. Now I'm getting a 404. So I think it was song singular.
Okay.
I think that was right. But then is it Brittany API? It is Brittany API. Let me try this. Nope. Okay. So it was Brittany API. That was correct.
Yeah.
Why is this not working?
So what you can do, it's a little bit of a process, but we can check the API logs. You can export API logs if you want to.
Ooh.
It doesn't do it by default, so you'll have to add it.
Okay.
So I'll walk you through it if you want.
Oh, wait. The log stream did pop up.
Oh, good. Okay. There it is. Yeah, we got a log stream.
We're good.
All right. Good. Okay.
Start and...
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I have to do API logging because I do a lot of direct service integrations, and so that's my jam.
But we're not getting an error. Yeah.
Maybe it is CORS in this time. But you get CORS turned on.
I do. I have the CORS app. Let's see. Did I maybe?
Do you have CORS on the? Does Amplify automatically set up CORS for the API gateway?
It should. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So I've built this a bunch of times, and I've never. I'm going to cheat. I'm going to go to
please do. Yeah.
Finished version, and
you probably need to blow that up if you're going to show something. That one's small.
Cool.
You can ask anybody who watches the stream more than once. I copy and paste my code, so you're not cheating.
Love it. Okay. Function source index pi.
Oh, looky there. With the AWS, Julian's throwing out stuff. With the AWS Toolkit for VS Code, you can read log streams directly from within the IDE. Oh. Kaboom.
Oh my goodness. I need to learn all these tricks.
Yeah, same. So I know the logging ones, but yeah.
Oh my goodness. This is so strange. Wait.
Oh, the light.
Wait. Let me check this. Make sure that I did this right. Yeah, it all matches.
Yeah, it does. 3.8
I don't know then.
stores.
What
This is the fun part. Yeah.
Yeah, the debugging. Like,
Alrighty. So do we know it did get invoked? But you went
yes.
to a couple of different names. So did it? All right, you just ran it again. So
Yep. And then if I refresh my logs,
you might have to. It could be Cole. You might have to go back to your
yeah, it could
different
be
stream.
a
Yeah.
log group. Whoa, nope, never mind. There we go.
There you go. Yeah.
Refresh this.
No, it's the same, or it hasn't been invoked. Timestamps.
42. Interesting. This is a situation. Always
All
fun.
right, so we've got Dan MBA saying, look at the course that this now. I love this when they start helping me. Look at the and I actually mean that. I know that sounds sarcastic, but I love when we get help from the group. So he's saying, look at the core settings and API Gateway Console. Might be worth looking at, but
could be it.
Amplify should set that up though. So I agree with you, but yeah.
Wait, Amplify finish loading get. Network error, dev song. Let me look at my network tab here as well. Dev song. Missing authentication token.
Okay.
Oh,
so that missing authentication token can sometimes be the wrong route.
Ooh. That can be it. I wonder, I also may have just messed something up because we were talking while I was doing the
I have that effect on people.
No. I'm sure that it is. So that might be my guess that I provisioned things wrong.
Okay.
That I didn't fully
bake it.
So I don't know if we want. I feel like we're over on.
Well, yeah. So what we could do is, we do have a hard stop in about 10, but we're okay. While she's looking at this, we can. Oh, does that load up?
Yeah. So this is the complete version.
Okay, good. All right. So this is complete version. So what we'll do is, and Al, if you don't mind, we'll just throw out later in a tweet. Hey, here's what it was. Which okay. I do that. I have plenty of those. You look in the history of Eric, hey, here's what it was. And so we'll throw that out. But what we can do is ask any questions that we may have missed. So I've got one here. It says, SAM can do that even if Lambda functions are deployed out of SAM. Yes. So I think you're referring back to the SAM logs. Yes, absolutely. So what it does is two ways of looking at logs from SAM. And what I do is I will literally SAM logs, and then I pass a stack name. So this is the end using SAM. I pass a stack name and the logical ID of the function. Okay, so that's the little name I named it in the stack. And then it will resolve the physical ID of the Lambda function and return logs. However, if it wasn't deployed with SAM, then I just got to grab the physical ID of the function. And then I will say SAM logs -n or -- name. If Rob were still here, he would have a conniption because you have to use the full name of the flag. I like the short names. And then I would give the physical ID and then -t. And that will tail it. So SAM will just sit there and pull those logs for you every few seconds. It's a great way of debugging, number one, things in the cloud production. Number two, asynchronous things. So if I have Event Bridge triggering a Lambda function and I need to see it in action, I can attach the logs. So hopefully that helps. All righty. Any other questions? So I would encourage you, now if you have any questions, we've got a few minutes left, and you have Ali and I both here. We're glad to answer any questions. Let's see. Earlier, someone yelled it out, but I'm gonna ask the question for them. Could this be done in Chalice? Do you work with Chalice?
That's another really good question. So
Okay.
you could use Chalice, but I don't think that it would play well with Amplify, just because I think that with Chalice, you go through the command line as well to provision things. So you would probably go without Amplify in that.
Okay. That makes sense.
Or you could use Amplify for like other things like storage or something like that, but not necessarily for...
No luck, huh?
No luck.
That's all right. That's all right. What other questions do we have? And I'm going to pull back through here and see if we've got any other. So Cloud9 IDE, always get VS Code feasting on my RAM. Yeah, that happens. It's just as you know, and I'm not going to throw blame on anything, because what it really comes down to is we're doing more and more and more in development. We're running local servers. We're running, I find I'll have Photoshop open. I'll have local servers running. Sometimes Premiere's running, and it's like, so lots of things going on there. I don't see any other questions going on. I know we have lots of folks watching, so please throw any questions you have in the chat. Glad to answer it live. And we will, Wolfie, is Ali's pushing a new version of it?
Yeah. I pluralized everything. So maybe this will, who knows?
While we're waiting, I hope you noticed that I did change my background. I'm now in a cool loft type with a piano. I'm just,
amazing.
I'm not trying to one-up you a lot, but there it is.
You know what? Did I not run Amplify push after I added the code? No, I think I did. Okay.
You had the light bulb look there, though.
Yeah. I was like, maybe I forgot.
I didn't interrupt you because you were thinking. So, all right. Yes. Okay. So, John, just to put, last time I had a big spider in that loft. Yeah, there was a spider incident in the house to where I spent a lot of time working with my legs up in the chair. I have 5 kids, and I do the spider killing in the house, but I don't enjoy it. I'm not going to lie. So, yes, there was a spider incident. So,
oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's crazy. No luck.
No luck.
That's all right.
Yeah, we'll get it. I'm sure that something. It's probably very obvious too. It's just.
Well, I'm not near to you.
The demos, but they always get you.
Yeah, well, yeah, they work great till you go live. That's just the rule. All right, so it looks like we have another question came in.
Cool.
So for Amplify CLI commands, can we run them within other front-end framework projects like React, or has to be only within Amplify framework I can't read. You get the gist of the question. Framework created projects. So
yeah. So actually, within this, I did create React app first as my initial command, and then I ran Amplify init within that create React app scaffold application, and that's the workflow that you would follow. So you could create a next app, you could create a view app, you could do really whatever type of front end that you want. You could even build it out yourself. You just need to have some sort of bundler, so a Webpack or a Parcel or something along those lines. That's really the only requirement. And once you have that, then you can run Amplify init, and that initializes that Amplify project.
Yeah. I just posted a link based on this to the docs.amplify.aws, kind of a get started idea. So yeah, I mean, I encourage you to use a framework. I know lots of folks are like to do just, hey, I write my own JavaScript, and that's fine. I'm not good enough to do that. I use a framework. I rely heavily on Vue, rely heavily on not React. Vue has been my main go-to. And but if you do want to just write it, raw JavaScript, you can still use Amplify. It provides everything you need for that. Not a question, but session request. Amplify introduced a lot of things with AI, ML, IoT, with Amplify interactions, predictions, and pub sub. Ali, it looks like you're coming back.
Yeah. So there's a bunch of other categories that Amplify has as well. Natter, who's my manager, has a bunch of really awesome videos on this. So if you go to Amplify, AWS Amplify, you can see the different categories that are supported. So down here, there's like authentication. Authentication is one of my favorite ones. It is very helpful. But then there's also analytics, XR, AI, ML, interactions, all these fun things.
Yeah. I don't think it's listed here, but Natter has a blog on setting up media streaming as well and how to use elements. And I've used that, and that's really slick. So yeah, there you go.
Okay, so Amplify Video, is that what you have used?
I think so. Yeah. Yep. And that,
okay,
yeah, it shows
so
yep.
It's AWS Labs instead of Amplify. So it's a third-party kind of technical, but it's developed by AWS plugin. So Amplify under the hood is built into these plugins. And then you can create your own plugins too. So if you want to create other resources or enable other resources that Amplify doesn't enable by default, then you can create your own plugin. So I'm actually doing a stream with the creator of Amplify Video on Friday, where we're going to build an Amplify plugin for Secrets Manager.
Oh, good. Yeah, and that's a big one. Yeah, Secrets Manager we push hard. Stop passing secrets in your environment variables. And I have a whole video I did on that as well. So we're about to wrap up. And Ali, will you be able to just send out, hey, here's what it was in a tweet when you get a chance?
Yes, definitely.
That'd be great. But I encourage, if you are a Python developer and if you are using Flask and you really, you like to use the framework, it's doable with Amplify and without Amplify. If you take this example and you're just building the back end, the same example, that's all Ali was doing was in the function itself, was using, that's the Flask part of it is contained to the Lambda function. And you can do, your routing, you can take advantage of some of those frameworks. Does it add any or much latency to Ali?
Well, that's a great question.
Yeah, I didn't ask it. Any or much? I'm not so good with the words. Yeah. What do you think? I wouldn't say a lot. Maybe a pinch because more library.
Yeah, probably a tiny bit, but I think it would be negligible.
Yeah, I do too. Much like running now. This is going to sound against what we're talking about. I generally don't use a framework in a Lambda function because I'm very granular. I break my functions out. But there are some schools of thought that like to say, hey, I'm going to use one Lambda and break and do that routing in there. And that works. Either way works. And this is a framework, in Python that'll do it. You can do it in Express as well with Node. So there are different options for doing this. All right, with that, I think we're going to wrap it up. Coming right after us, hang on just a moment here. I have it. This is, I do not have it. I'm sorry. But next week, I know what we're doing. Next week, Julian is going to be talking about observability inside of serverless. We talk about a lot. Again, as developers, we tend to add it after the fact. But right from the get-go, as we're building our applications, you want to know what's going on. Hey, what's working? What isn't? What's fast? What's slow? Things like that. So Julian's going to be pointing out a lot of observability metrics, different things like that. So, Ali, I want to thank you so much for joining us in Serverless Office Hours. You are always awesome. And we will send out a tweet on what happened here. She's still battle. She's not giving up.
Thank you so much. This was a ton of fun.
Good. I'm glad. And with that, we will see you all next Tuesday. 10 a.m. Pacific time or whatever it is in your area for Serverless Office Hours. I'm Eric Johnson. Have a great day. Reach out to us. These are both our Twitter handles are here. Feel free to reach out to us. Glad to answer any serverless related questions, Amplify related questions that we can. Have a good one. Thanks, Ali.
Bye.